soul-destroying. It was, I'll be honest, I had sleepless nights. I've never experienced anything like it. It was emotional. It nearly broke me, if I'm honest, emotionally. And I'm a strong person.
What do you think Reform is offering that the other parties weren't?
Honesty. What you see is what you get with Reform. And I think that, look, we've seen apathy is an all-time high. We've seen that angry in politicians is an all-time high. And Reform offers honesty, it offers hope. And what unites, I mean, we've pulled from Labour and Conservatives. We unite for our love of our country, as Nigel says, for family and for community. And this is where the rebuilding begins.
And just final question, you're going to have to work with fellow Conservative
Yes.
leaders on the Greater Mayoral Committee in Lincolnshire. Are you going to be able to do that after the divisiveness of this campaign?
I'm going to be the bigger person. I mean, look, don't forget, I was a government whip. I worked even with opposition then. As a Conservative MP, occasionally I was in the opposition lobbies. So I always lead with my heart, and I always do what's right, and I'll do what's best and what's necessary for the people of Lincolnshire.
How much pressure is there on there now for you to actually deliver?
Oh, completely. Look, gosh, I take this seriously because a lot's resting on Reform's future for anyone who gets elected, all the councils up and down the country that we will take control of. You know, it takes it from being a protest party to showing what we can do in power. So this, I will not overpromise. I will deliver what's achievable. Because from here, it's these pivotal moments. We've got the elections in Wales next year. We've got the elections in Scotland. And then the general election. We've obviously got elections here in 2 years' time as well, haven't we? So I will deliver. Yeah.
Can I just ask about the nature of the campaign? You said it was a dirty campaign, but you just used your speech to smear other candidates and to bring up all of that dirty laundry. Do you think that's appropriate?
Well, I ask you, if the police was called on you for something unfounded, if you was reported to the council for something that was unfounded, wouldn't you want to speak out about it? I've always been honest. I was honest about Conservative Prime Ministers when I was a Conservative, so I will always call out bad behaviour.
But you're elected to be a representative for this county now, first mayorship. Do you think it's appropriate for a politician to be speaking?
I think it's important to restore trust in politicians by speaking the truth. In my 9 years as an MP, I always spoke truth to power, even if it was the Prime Minister. I will continue doing that.
I mean, all the candidates left halfway through your speech. They were so disgusted by what you said. I spoke to the Tory candidate. He left when you said... He left when you said migrants should be put in tents. That's good enough for France. That should be good enough for them too. Do you think that's a divisive way of conducting politics?
I think it's what the majority and the silent majority think.
That's what you think of migrants. That's where they should.
And well, illegal migrants, people come here illegally. They should be put in tents like they do in France.
And people seeking asylum should also be put in tents.
Well, I think genuine asylum seekers, you know, like Ukraine, etc., that's a different matter.
And then you also accused one candidate of, she said you were parachuted in, and you made a comment about her South African accent. What did you mean by that?
Well, what I meant is, how can they say I've been parachuted in when I spent most of my life in Lincolnshire, school,
Why mention the accent, sorry?
Because the irony of saying someone's been parachuted in who's not even from the country. I mean, I went to school, college, university, so I think...
So someone who's got an accent can't be from this county?
I think, actually, I'm not even going to answer any more of your questions. I think that your questioning is quite divisive. You're looking into things when it was a little play with words, it was a little joke because of the irony. Do you not understand irony?
The only reason I'm asking is because Reform get a reputation for these divisive politics.
Questions. Thank you very much. Thank you. A sensible question. Thank you. My first day on the job is going to actually work with the councillors, and because we've got, you know, we could potentially have a Reform-led council, so I want to support those, because we cannot fail. You know, we've got to deliver for the people of Lincolnshire. So my first thing would be supporting them. some newly elected ones. It's looking at the balance sheet and actually meeting with stakeholders. I mean, I said I will form a Transport for Greater Lincolnshire, where we get stakeholders, even from charities and decision makers, to finally get Lincolnshire moving. I will set up a Lincolnshire-wide business association where we will unite the county, businesses, the great industries, and to ensure that they've got a voice and to push back actually on the government with policies that are not working.
When you look back in 4 years at the end of your term, what's that one thing you really hope you've achieved?
I want Lincolnshire to be thriving. I want the next generation to not have to leave the county for better jobs. I want them to be able to get around the county. And I want those, even with special educational needs like I've got myself, my son's got, to be given that starting life. I want to make Lincolnshire a better place for everybody.
Are you on the same page as Nigel Farage on special educational needs, his suggestion that it's something that's being overdiagnosed and he's come up with?
But look, I did see his further comments. I think it has been taken out of context. But look, I've got a reputation of fighting for special educational needs for many years, and I've got a son who's got special education needs, so I'll always fight for him.
It's okay to disagree with people in your party, so you disagree with him on his analysis of that?
Well, I'm not saying I disagree. I think his words have been taken out of context. So, look, I'll always speak up for what I believe in, and yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What do you mean by you'll always fight to put British people in the queue first of all? Practically, what will that sort of involve in terms of policies that you have some power over going forward?
I mean, for example, if you look in Boston, which Richard's an MP, aren't you, Richard? 25% of social housing goes to people not being born in this country. I mean, I found that quite difficult because I was an MP for 9 years, and I had single parents waiting 8 or 9 years to even get a house, and that just doesn't seem fair to me.
That's not something you will have power over.
No, but you can do political. Well, you're in charge, responsible for housing, aren't you? House building. But what you can do is put political pressure on. Political pressure can go a long way, and I will do that.